Hi, I'm Christian.
And I'm Angela, and we are married
And bored. Hey, everybody, welcome back.
Hey, we thought we would squeeze in one little shorty podcast before it switches over to
Shorty.
2020.
Yeah, we hope everyone had a good holiday, celebrated Christmas with our family. We had a good time. We played some games, ate some food, opened presents.
Yes, and because this episode is going to be a little shorter, we'll deviate a little bit from our normal format.
Yeah, but let's keep this one the same. Ange,
Okay.
What's up?
What's up with me? All right, well, I need to tell everyone Christian and I got for Christmas. We got the games Everdell, we got Robinson Crusoe, and the kids chose Disney code names. And I guess technically we talked about this one, but back about a month ago we got from our BGG Secret Santa Azul and the Wingspan
That's
expansion.
right. We had a good gaming Christmas.
So that's technically part of the games we got for Christmas. We decided to do something a little bit different for each other. Instead of exchanging gifts the traditional way with each other, what we did was take one Saturday and go to our local game store, and we together kind of walked around the store, and I think we pointed out 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, I think there was probably 4.
Oh yeah, because we wanted Root, but they didn't have it. They
Root
were sold
was
out
on our list of possibilities.
So we picked out 4, and then once we agreed on 4 games, I took the kids and went out of the store, and Christian bought one of those 4, but left it a mystery until Christmas when I opened it.
Yeah, so there was a pool of games that we were both okay with purchasing, and I got to make the final decision. And I chose a pretty good one.
Yeah, so that's how we got Everdell, which we've seen a lot of.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
And we had no idea really what it was. Like we've explained before, we don't really look up things about games besides just visual pictures. Mm-hmm. So we have played it through once, and happy to say that it is very enjoyable, albeit very different.
Yeah, I don't know.
Than I thought.
I don't know what your expectations were. I knew it was card-based, and I knew we'd have to build some sort of, town or something in front of you. I just didn't know what that all entailed. It was cool.
Yeah. So I thought it was going to be all these woodland creatures on, a journey.
More like a Mice and Mystics style.
Yeah, through a forest, and they'd be encountering things, and I'd have to make decisions on their behalf. And instead it was just worker placement, which, hey, I like worker placement.
Yeah, you're pretty good at those.
So, and I also appreciated that it wasn't a time suck. It was a shorter game.
Even in learning it, I think we were done in 80 minutes. Mm-hmm. Not too bad. It was good. What else did we get?
So I breezed over this, but we got Robinson Crusoe. So we went back after Christmas because we just couldn't stop ourselves. Went back to the same game store, and we decided no secrets. We're just going to buy Robinson Crusoe. Mm-hmm. It's a game we've been looking at for a while. I think the box said it was voted best thematic game of 2013. So it's not a new game. It's been known out there in the gaming universe as one of the hardest cooperative games that exists. So since Everdell was competitive, I was like, oh, let's get a cooperative game we can be on the same team. And so we decided on Robinson Crusoe, and we've played through that once. It was a 2-nighter.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that game. Mm-hmm. And it definitely lives up to the difficulty that its reputation has. Mm-hmm. We were cruising along, it felt like. And then all of a sudden it was just storm, you're dead. No food, you're dead. Yeah. Animals, you're dead. It just stacked up towards the end.
But it didn't feel impossible.
No, I think in 7, 8, or 9 more plays, we can win one.
Mm-hmm. What a positive outlook that is, Christian. And of course, we've played Disney code names now since we let our kids buy it. They love it, and it's actually fun. It's a good one for us to play as a family. Mm-hmm. All right, Christian, what's up with you?
Well, over the holidays, we played a fun game that we picked up at Target a few weeks ago. It's like a Rolling Stone party game. It's called the Rock and Roll Party Game for anyone who's ever heard a song.
By Big Potato Games.
Baked potato games.
No,
Big potato
big
games. Oh, I think you
potato.
said baked potato games. We should probably eat dinner. Speaking of baked potatoes.
Are you getting hungry?
No. Anyways, yeah, this game, Angela and I both love music. You know, we've both like performed music in our past and present and probably future.
Yeah, we do sing a lot in our household.
Yeah, music is a big deal for us. So there's a lot of music being played, being sung, being watched. So this definitely was one that we just kind of grabbed and we're looking forward to playing. It is very difficult.
It's a hard game.
Yeah, and there's so many genres. It goes from like the 50s or pre-1960s
Yeah.
all the way up to current times. So that's a ton of songs. And my sweet spot in music is like 1980 to like 2000. Like
Right.
those 20 years, I got down,
Yeah.
which is only like 8% of all. I don't know.
It was probably like 20% of the cards.
Yeah, which is, there's still so much that I had no idea what
But
was going
then
on.
there was a category called like timeless rock or rock.
Vintage.
No.
Oh, Rock Gods.
Rock gods.
Yeah.
And you were pretty good at that
Yeah.
one.
I think those kind of just, those fall into that 20-year
Yeah.
category. So it was pretty easy. It's kind of like, in a way, like how monikers, if you ever played that, you have to try to guess something using less and less information each time. So you try to get people to guess a band using only one word, or you try to get them to guess a different band just humming the song.
No words.
And then speaking the lyrics.
Yeah.
Which is very
No
different.
melody.
Yeah, which is very different than singing the lyrics. And so we had a really good time with that. We're looking forward to playing it some more, but it's just funny at how difficult it was.
Yeah.
My sister played and she got everything from 2000 and beyond, like in an instant.
Yep.
And then I had my little area. Angela,
Your dad had a good little niche.
yeah, and he was like in 1960 to 80.
Yep.
It was just kind of funny, like how it all worked out that way.
You know what surprised is how much of the very current stuff I had no idea. Like I had heard the band name,
Okay.
but I couldn't even think of a melody of a song they did.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I know that band, but I don't know anything they play or sing.
Right. Like the Vampire Weekend or Vampire Weekend.
Vampire Weekend.
Yeah.
Had no idea. I was like, yeah, I've heard that band name, but and so it made me feel kind of old.
Yeah. And now it was fun. It'll be fun to play with bigger teams. Mm-hmm. So maybe more people can fill in the gaps of our lack of knowledge in whatever area, but it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also we got a gift, a nice little podcast gift. We got a new microphone,
Woohoo!
which we're testing out. So apologize for any technical issues. This is the first episode on the new mic. We'd love to know if it sounds better
Do
or
we
worse.
sound sexy?
Let us know. So
We shouldn't be apologizing. We probably sound fantastic.
yeah, we probably
new
do.
mic.
You never know though. But yeah, it's kind of been fun to get it dialed in. I'm sure we'll make some tweaks after this episode and go forward. But bear with us as we work through that.
And thanks to our podcast, Mike Santa. You know who you are.
Yeah.
All right. So for our main segment, before we go into it, we are going to be just kind of looking back and looking forward as we go end this year, not even a year, it's a decade. We're ending a decade and going forward into 2020. So stay tuned.
Let's do it.
All right. So for our main segment, we are going to be looking back first on 2019. We're going to be looking back at our most played game of 2019, our best game that we added to our collection in 2019, and the worst game we played in 2019. Christian, start us off.
Let's go. I acquired a lot of games in 2019. That's kind of
We
my
did.
favorite thing to do.
Yes,
I've also, in a good way, gotten rid of a lot of games this year.
that has been good.
Yeah. But anyways, let's stick to the topic.
Stick to the script.
So my most played game this year was Lord of the Rings: Journey in Middle Earth.
Ooh, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a mansion-esque game. It's got the app. It's got the adventure. It's all set in Lord of the Rings. You're not playing the movies, but you're kind of just going on your own adventure with people from the movies and some new characters that have been created, or maybe they're in some of the like secondary books and stuff from Lord of the Rings. But yeah, I've played that 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
That's a big range. 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. I've played that like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times.
Yeah, it's.
You've probably played it 8 times.
8 times, 8 or 9 or 10. Probably not that many. Anyways, I had a really good time playing this. A lot of my friends enjoy Lord of the Rings, so this was an easy one to be like, hey, come over and let's go on an adventure. I really like how each adventure, no matter if you fail or succeed, you still move on to the next chapter. Mm-hmm. And some of the chapters are very different. There's different boards that make it more like deduction style game, and some of them are more epic, where you go across multiple mountains and lands to get to the objective.
Some are more combat heavy.
Yep.
Yes, it's a good one, and it, like he mentioned, it's very mechanically like Mansions of Madness, and a solid theme, Lord of the Rings. Okay, Christian, what is the best game that we added to our collection in 2019, in your humble opinion?
Well, let's just keep with it, and we'll say the exact same game.
Oh.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, Journey in Middle Earth. I think with the amount of play that we've gotten out of it, I think it's been a very good addition. I'm looking forward to, as always, new expansions with characters or missions. They just did a new update to the app, which we haven't tried yet, to kind of just put some variety in that. So it's one that we could be playing for a long time going forward. So that's my favorite / best game that we got this year.
And then, dun dun dun, the worst game.
This one was so easy for me to answer.
It was remarkably easy.
It took me a while to think through my favorite game. But we got early last year. We got Discover Lands Unknown, which there was a lot of hype around. It's this unique game where every box is different, so you don't know what you're going to get in the box. And you go on an adventure, much like the game that we just bought, Robinson Crusoe, but it's a different style. And I hated that game after the first time we played it, I think. It was so hard and almost borderline impossible.
Yeah, it was cooperative. And it was, I think what intrigued you is that the title is Discover Lands Unknown, and you didn't know, in your box, were you going to have the desert landscape and the tundra, or were you going to have like the beach or the forest? You didn't know.
Yeah, so we had like a beach / island, and then with snow on the other side, which we never even played because we played the beach tundra one, or not tundra, the beach one, 3 or 4 times.
It was impossible.
Yeah, we never got to like the third act, or I don't even remember how it was laid out, but it was so hard.
Yeah. That
I got rid of that one. Or I didn't get rid of it very fast, but it definitely went to the high shelf.
Yes.
where it's soon to be forgotten. So that was my worst pickup for 2019.
I'm going to store that one in the garage.
Yep.
All right.
Angela,
yes.
Same questions to you. What was your most played in 2019?
Well, you know this.
I do know this. I think
and all of you out there, I'm going to give you 2 seconds to think in your head what my most played of 2019 was.
If you've been listening to the show, you definitely know.
And it's Mansions of Madness. So not only was there a new expansion released this past year, well, and actually technically 2, because didn't the Serpent one come out?
Yeah, just recently.
Yep. So there's technically been 2 expansions released this past year. But I was referring to
Yeah, we got the one with the boat.
Train and the boat.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. So we've played it. It was kind of an easy one for us to bring to the table with friends. Not as like a party game setting, but more like friends who already game. And
we have friends who want to know more about like why we do what we do.
And
like
that's
this
usually-
show and the type of games we play. And that's a good one, we feel, to introduce them.
yes. So when they're curious, when they're like, okay, I know nothing about these deep strategy games, but I want to know more. What would you play with me? And we'll go, why don't you come over and we'll play Mansions?
Yeah,
with
because
you."
everyone's on the same team.
Yep.
The app tells us where to go and what to do. It's simple.
Yep. And I think I even played it once by myself.
I think you have, which is cool.
And then, best game we added to our collection in 2019, in my opinion, was Abomination.
Yeah.
And, I might have to say it's tied or right up there with Robinson Crusoe now that we've bought that and played that once through.
So we've played it once. Why do you think it's up there already with Abomination, which, let's be honest, you dominated that game?
Maybe that's why. No, there was the tie between both of them for me is that they are so immersive. They
Okay.
draw me into what I'm doing. I feel like I'm there doing what the world of the game is wanting me to do.
Yeah.
And they're very different games mechanically.
Yeah,
So-
one's co-op.
Yeah.
Right
One's
off the bat, yeah.
competitive. One's worker placement, and I don't even know what you'd call Robinson Crusoe.
It's kind of worker placement in a way, because you
Yeah.
got to do your actions, but there's so much going on in each game, and there's so much going on that it's very different between the two.
Yes, they're not similar games mechanically. They're just tied in my best editions of 2019.
So you like to go on adventures and
I really do.
and think, though,
I need,
during the
yeah.
adventure. I just want to go on an adventure and like shoot stuff
This is why
or hit them with swords.
you will play Gloomhaven,
Yeah,
but I will not.
that's true.
I won't say never, but it's not on my top 20.
We'll see.
Okay, so, and the worst game, okay, this is hard. I will tell you, we were discussing this question beforehand, and it's really hard for me to pick a worst game that I played this year because I don't have time to play games that are crappy.
Bad.
Yeah.
Discover.
I mean, yeah, I guess Discover, but I didn't want to take the same one you did. So I will say the worst game, now let me explain myself, was Captain Sonar. Christian, explain what Captain Sonar is.
Captain Sonar is a submarine game where you're supposed to play in 2 teams of 4, and the goal is to shoot the other submarine. It's like Battleship on steroids.
Okay. I love that explanation. And I think it sounds fun. And it is fun, but you said it's for teams of...
4.
Yeah, and we played it one-on-one.
We just tried to learn it by ourselves, which is super boring
Right.
with this game. But I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're definitely looking forward to trying it someday with the full experience.
I'll let you put those words in my mouth.
Okay.
So that's basically why it's the worst game. It's not a bad game. I'm sure it's a great game, actually, when you have the right amount of people. But it was just a little bit boring.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we have a lot of great games. So
That's true.
when you say, like, what's the worst that you've played this year, my worst is probably not going to be a bad game.
Unless it's a Discover Lands Unknown.
Okay, well, did anyone play Discover Lands Unknown out
if
there?
you love it, let me know why. I would be super happy to hear your explanation into why it's a great game.
I hope someone writes us in and is just like, I actually find Discover Lands Unknown very easy.
They'll probably do that.
Listen, don't steal our joy.
And they probably got all the right cards in theirs, and we got all the wrong cards. That's the thing with that game.
Well, before we get bitter,
Yeah. Anyways, so that's our top games and worst games of 2019. Coming up in the next segment, we want to talk about our 2020 goals, gaming goals. We want to talk about
what we're looking forward to.
Yeah, we have a cool gaming board in our house that marks how many games we play. Mm-hmm. We'll explain it more. Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back. Like I mentioned, we're gonna go through our top games, and I started talking about a board that we track game plays on, and I did not do a good job of explaining that. So I'm gonna let you do that, Angela. Explain what this board. Yeah, explain what this board is and like why we enjoy doing this.
Well, I think it was probably 2 years ago. Christian ordered a looks like plywood board from, was it Etsy?
I got it off Etsy, yeah.
Yeah. And it is, approximately like 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet.
Sure.
And it hangs on our wall. And it says, "In this house we game 10 games by 10 plays."
Right.
So on the left hand side in the rows, you have the name of 10 games. And then on the top, going in columns, you have the numbers 0 through 10. And you have actual physical, like wooden meeples that you stick in the board to track how far along your progress is and how many plays you've had of that game.
Yeah, and I think we'll put a picture on Instagram to explain it better, but you can see that. I think that's a really good description. Basically, we choose 10 games, and we try to play each of those games 10 times in a calendar year.
So we did it for 2018, was our first year, because I think you got it at the end of 2017.
Did I? Okay.
And then we filled it out for this year,
yes.
2019.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really excited to fill it out for 2020.
2020 will be the first year that we've both kind of put games on there together.
Yeah.
Most of it has been me in the past.
I think last year I put on 2.
Yeah. Let's just go really quickly down the list of games that we put on our 2019 list.
Okay, should we go one
after you go?
One after the other. Okay, Keyforge.
Discover Lands Unknown.
Detective.
Mansions of Madness.
Lord of the Rings: Journey to Middle-earth.
Seafall.
Western Legends.
Forbidden Desert.
And Scythe.
That's only 9, and I left one space blank for a new game, and I failed to put one in. So there you go.
And we'll talk about a little bit about how I plan or hope that this board is used in the future.
Yeah.
But those were the 9 that we wrote down for this year.
Yep.
And as I was looking at it to prepare for this episode, I just thought we did a really poor job of choosing games. Not that these are bad games, but they are just, there's a lot of games on that list that take quite a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our highest game, the game we played the most, according to this, is Lord of the Rings. And we only did that 6 times. I felt like I played that a lot.
That's because it takes so much time.
It takes a lot of time, and to go with one of the categories that we talk about in our game or in our podcast, setting up and tearing down this game is so annoying.
Yeah.
It's awful. But yeah, we played that only 6 times.
So if I think about like Star Wars Rebellion. Is that a bad game? No. It's a great game. But will it ever be on our 10 by 10 list?
If it is, we'll play it once or twice.
No, because you can't play that game 10 times in a year. Or I shouldn't say you can't. We know we can't because it's special for the very reason that it's so once in a while.
Yep.
So I think we made the mistake of just putting too many games that were so intense. Detective, Mansions, Lord of the Rings, Seafall, a Scythe. Those are all intense games that take a lot of brain power.
Yep.
They take a lot of clock. It takes a lot of time off the clock and a lot of setup and teardown. So, whoops, that was our problem.
Yeah, so we didn't succeed very well. Most of the games on here are between 2 and 3 plays, which is still great. It's still a lot of plays. Like, we played Seafall 2 times, which is where I'm interested in that game just because of what it is, how it changes every time. But there's so much going on, and having to get a consistent group together to play it, that's the difficulty with that one. So we are definitely more selective in what we want to try to do and accomplish on this board in 2020.
So we're sitting down thinking about 2020. Christian, why don't you give a couple of the games we want to put on our 10 by 10 board for 2020.
Yeah, I think I had a couple that were like non-negotiables.
They had to go on or else.
Yeah, so two of the ones that I really wanted to do was Star Wars Outer Rim. I think that's a really fun game. I'm just living up the Star Wars hype at the end of the year, obviously, so I want to continue that. It's a pretty quick game once it's done, so I think we can easily get above 5 for Outer Rim, and Marvel Champions is one that I really wanted to put on there as well.
And with Outer Rim, I'm actually excited to crack that one open again after finishing Mandalorian.
Yeah, because that's what you're playing, depending on what character you choose.
And Marvel Champions, I mean, that's just going to keep getting more and more new and fresh each time they release packs.
Yep.
So, do you want to list one more?
Oh, yeah, and I put Keyforge on there. I like Keyforge for how quick it is, and you don't have to deck build. Now, I love Star Wars Destiny. It's so much fun because it's Star Wars, but I don't want to go through the problem of having to build decks every time I play. I do have some like pre-made ones, whatever, but Keyforge is cool because you can just grab a brand new experience for $9 at the store, and you're good to go. Open it and you can play.
So those are good. That's a good 3 to start out with.
How about you, Angela? You had some that you wanted to get on there too.
Okay, so I chose Mansions, of course. Now, I mean, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here. I know I talk about Mansions all the time.
Yeah, we do.
But I will say that it's going on here again, even though it is time consuming because of the fresh experience of the new expansion, and mainly because of what we talked about earlier. When our friends or people that are into gaming ask us to play with them and they want, what makes board games at this level such a great experience, my answer is always, you got to experience Mansions.
Yeah, and you want to share what you love. So
yeah. So that's why it's going to go up there again, and it's one of the more time-consuming ones up there. And then the other 3, well, no, I guess Everdell I just talked about. I'm going to put that on there.
Of course.
It's new, it's fun, so I want it on there, and it's pretty quick.
It's quick.
And then the other 2 that I wanted on there were Abomination and Wingspan, which we did episodes on. Episode 2 was Abomination, and episode 4 was Wingspan. Very different games. Abomination is more time-consuming, but probably not as much as Mansions. And then Wingspan is just kind of a quick, softly competitive game where I almost view it as like solitaire. Like it's just trying to better your score. It's an easy one to just break out and play quickly, and also maybe watch an episode of something that night or go to bed early.
And it's also one that I feel like it can take over the spot of Mansions of Madness in that category of, oh, we want to play a game with you, bring something you like.
Yeah, good point.
It's easy to learn and easy to pick up. So I think, and it's just so unique in the birdness of it.
Yes. So if you've been counting, that is only 7.
That's 7 games.
And why don't we have 10, Christian?
Well, because I like to acquire new games every year. That is just one of my favorite things to do, is the new experience. Expansions help, but there's nothing better than just a brand new game and opening it up and learning it. So that is why we left 3 spaces open. We're open to suggestions if there's one that you guys think that we would like based on maybe the list we said here, these 7, the ones from last year, our episodes. We're open to hearing what you may have to say there.
Yeah, we want to leave 3 blank for creativity.
Yep.
And throughout the year, we're going to fill those in and play them 10 times, whatever they are.
Yeah, unless it comes out in November.
Listen, we will play it 10 times.
Okay.
If we're putting it on the board, we're playing it 10 times.
That is a perfect segue. Why don't we continue the talk of 2020 and let's hit our gaming goals for 2020. You just mentioned, Angela, one of yours is...
One of mine is to complete the 10 by 10 board.
Yeah.
I know this is only our 3rd year of using this board.
Yep.
But the past 2 years, we haven't, I would say we've gotten nowhere close.
We haven't even gotten 50%.
To completing the 10 by 10 board. And part of that is maybe just, well, there's a lot of factors. Consistency in keeping track, choosing the right games to go on the 10 by 10 board, and all those factors. But I think that now that we've taken into account games we like, but they're also different in terms of style and how much time they take up and how accessible they are to be learning and doing with other people, I think we have a much better chance of going 10 by 10, even with the 3 mystery ones yet to be.
Ooh, yes. So we'd have to play 100 games in 2020.
But don't you think we already...
one every 3.5 days on average?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think it's doable.
What are you doing in 3 days?
Well, I'm hoping we're going to play tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Listen.
That doesn't seem too bad. It seems like a lot, but I will... You know what? I'll do my best to help you get that
Let
goal.
me have my 2020 goal, and you can have yours. And then I think I'm going to throw this out there, because once I throw it out there, everyone's heard it, and I need to maybe stick to it. I'm really interested in game creation these days, and I will not say that in 2020 I'm going to create a game. That would be, I think, too ambitious and unrealistic, but I'd like to take one step, no matter how much of a baby step it is, in the direction of starting to think about and create a game of my own.
Wow. That'd be kind of crazy.
Would you like to journey with me on that?
No.
It's not like the Journey to Middle-earth.
I don't think I have the brain for that. If I could shoot stuff and throw a sword at it in this game or in this process, I'll help you. Do you have a name for your game yet?
Name would be like the last thing.
Oh, okay.
Name would be like later in the process. I'm going to have to call you into combat consultant.
Combat's consultant. That's
because
good.
All of the games that I would think of would have no combat.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's funny because I have another fake title at work, and it's the Secretary of Syrups and Sauces.
Wow. I didn't know you were so...
So I'm going to add...
So it's distinguished.
I'm going to add combat consultant to that.
There you go.
Even though my combat is only video game and board game.
Yeah.
That's all I know how to do.
He's not just out there fighting real people.
No.
Okay.
No, just fake people.
Well, what is your board game goal for 2020?
My board game goal is... I have 2 as well. And one of them I think will help the 10 by 10 goal that you have. I'd like to just try to get more consistent like game nights / gaming group going. I don't know what that means, whether that's once a month. Even if it's once a month, that's 12 games.
Yeah.
That will be knocked off the list there. And I'd like to have people over consistently so that we can play and have fun with our friends.
Yeah. As we always mention on here, games are about, at the end of the day, learning new stuff about people and specifically each other. So, and having fun doing that. So I think that having couples or groups of people would be fun to...
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, our dog is in here, but...
That's Lucy.
Yeah, I don't know what that means and what it's going to look like for 2020, but that is definitely one of my goals. And one of my more I don't know what the word is. Another one of my goals is to play Dungeons and Dragons or do a Star Wars RPG. Mm-hmm. I'd like to do that more. I think I've only played once last year, and I ran it, which was super fun. It was fun to kind of like think of all the stories and how it would work out. So I'd like to do that. I think that'd be fun.
That sounds like a good thing for you to do. And
for you not to be home when that happens.
No, I could be home. I'm just going to be reading.
Okay. Me too.
Or, I'll just... What's Angela doing? Oh, she's playing the solo variant of Marvel Champions.
Yeah, she'll be playing a different game while we play games in the other room. Yep. So, let's just keep this train going. 2020 is a big year. What are you most looking forward to playing in 2020? Is there a game that you've been having your eye on? something that might be released?
Oh, well, this is a hard one because there's a lot of things that I really want to play. Just because we've gotten more into the board gaming world and seen games out there that we didn't even know existed. So the first things that popped to mind were Unfair,
Okay.
which is a board game I think I first saw on Never Board Gaming Instagram account. And it's just I don't really know much about it at all. So I don't know if I'll like the mechanics. I don't know if I'll like the game, but I like that the theme is building your own theme park.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. And
So-
you can sabotage others. Yeah.
So that's one of the things I'm looking forward to playing. There's another one called Overbooked, which is it's a smaller game. I assume it's quicker. It's about, I think, trying to balance things on an airplane,
An
right?
overbooked
An
airline.
overbooked airline,
Yeah.
and I don't know, that appeals to my multitasking senses. It's not going to be heavy on strategy or
Could be.
Well, maybe, I
Yeah.
guess, but it's what I mean is it's not a mansions. It's like a quicker game.
Yep.
And then the other one, are you ready for me to say
Yeah,
it?
I'd like to hear you say this one.
Ganz schön clever.
Sure.
That's pretty clever. It's a German dice game. And again, it can be played just as a solo or it can be played with people. And it's competitive, but it's much like Wingspan in the sense that you're just competing against your own score. No one's disrupting you.
Yeah, we played this on a work trip this year, and you liked it right away.
Yeah.
It's like Yahtzee to the extreme.
Yeah, dice rolling game. Yeah, I really liked it. So those are the first three that popped to my mind. I know there's lots more. Even as I'm talking, I'm thinking of the Everdell expansion and
Yeah.
Tapestry.
Oh, yeah, Tapestry.
So
Root?
Root.
Root would be cool.
You're gonna have to just stop me
Yeah.
before I start listing everything. What about you, Christian?
I'm most excited for Marvel Champions expansions. I feel like that just adds so much more newness to the game each time. I've never been on the ground floor of one of these LCGs. I've always come in really late to the game, so I don't like getting all the cards is not a possibility because I'd have to go through years of packs to catch up.
Yeah.
So now that I'm starting at the very beginning, I feel like it's kind of easier to do.
Would you say you started from the bottom, now you're here?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I think I've heard somebody say that before. But
We'll link that song in our show notes.
sure. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to what's next. We just got a bunch of them around Christmas time, and there's a new one coming out in, I think, February. And they've already announced that in June they're going to have another big box, in quotes, expansion to that game, and it just keeps on going.
exciting.
Yeah. So that's one of them. And then anything that Fantasy Flight Games does, I just really like. I've always been a big fan of their games, and I think it's just because they have the licenses that I love, the Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and Marvel now. So it's just crazy. Like whatever they're gonna make this year that hasn't been announced is probably what I'm most excited for.
Whatever they touch is gold.
Yeah, not for everybody, and I know it's not for everybody, but for me, I really enjoy that. So I'm looking forward to filling one or all three of those spots on our 10x10 list with unannounced games that are coming. So that's what I'm most looking forward to.
We will be right back to talk about a question for you guys.
All right, and as we end every show with a question,
Let's end with a question.
let's do it. So last episode was our big Star Wars episode, and we asked, where do you fall on the Star Wars scale? Are you Christian like me, who just loves Star Wars and eats it up?
Are you more Star Wars neutral like me, Angela?
Yeah. And so we had a few people respond, and we just found that people are everywhere.
They're on both sides,
Yeah.
especially after this new movie.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it, of course.
I did too.
Yeah. I don't know why I know why you wouldn't, because I've seen it online.
Don't at us.
But I had a lot of fun with that movie. Anyways, let's move on. So we talked about our goals for 2020. We want to know, what is your gaming goal for 2020? What are you most looking forward to? What do you want to change about the games? What game do you want to buy? Whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, maybe you're going to buy the 10x10 board now, or maybe you already have one. And what is your gaming goal for 2020? And we'll leave it wide open to however you want to interpret that. Please let us know. We love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, and as we wrap up here, we are 6 episodes into this thing, and we're ending the year at episode 6. We're looking forward to 2020. Many more episodes to come, hopefully, right?
Yes. We await your responses with optimism.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Married and Bored podcast. And guess what? We have a website where you can listen to podcast episodes and so much more. Find us at marriedandbored.com, or you can email us at hello@marriedandbored.com, or follow us on Instagram at marriedandbored. Music in this episode is by Joseph McDade. See you next time.
I'm Angela. And I'm Christian. And we are married and bored.